We were teeing up the Leafs Vancouver 2-pack of games with the expectation the Leafs would carry over what they did in Edmonton, and Vancouver was in trouble and obviously had not been playing well. And then Thatcher Demko gave them great goaltending, a couple of wins. Their big boys showed up. Besser had a good weekend, and they get their 2 games. They get their 4 points in reg. Yet in Toronto, I don't think the mood has shifted. I don't think anyone is panicking, nor should they.
One more game, Hazy.
Yeah, we're probably one more game away. A blowout to Winnipeg tomorrow. On Wednesday morning. We've been down this road before. We know well enough how things work. But the conversation we've been having is one that's been consistent with the season, like the idea that the lineup is in flux and could change at some point. And I think Thornton came into the spotlight, in the 2 games in Vancouver. And maybe more so because Matthews appears to be in a position now where he could use a little bit of help, right? He's not 100%. He's grinding a little bit more. This is where you lean on your line mates a little bit more, and Marner can do it for him. Jumbo didn't really look like he could. So what do you see happening here? Where do you think that goes?
Well, I think what was concerning to me when I watch it, like right away, like at the very beginning of the year, of course, you look and you're like, man, there's no way Joe speed-wise can skate with those guys. And it can be today, tomorrow, next month. It's all the same. He's not going to be quick enough to play there. He's got to play with his head. He's got to play with his hands. He's played 14 games. And, they go into Vancouver in game 1. He plays 1 shift in the 3rd period. And then the next time he's in and out of that line, it's like it's starting to, I'm assuming the paces of the game is going to quicken like it does every year. That's going to be a spot to be focused on, because it's nice to have that third line. If Engvall can keep that role, if he can keep that spot, it's kind of nice to have that line. But damn, Hyman's good. And, man, he does a lot of work. If you can find somebody to play there, then maybe you can keep Hyman away from them. Otherwise, he kind of looks like the spot or the guy that has to be there for me. Like, look what happened in, so Marner turns over pucks on the 3rd and 4th goal, both of them. He burped that one up on the 3rd goal, and the 4th one he was dead tired. They were out there for a long time. He tried to drop pass, and it ended up in the net. So they're just a little squeeze of the stick, a little press, and they could use some help. And Joe just wasn't able to give it to them. I think it's a point that you have to look at and will be continually looked at until the deadline.
Yeah, and see what they have. And they do have a lot of options, Ray. They got a lot of pieces that can slide up there, including Zach Hyman. And I wonder, his contract's up, and without necessarily talking dollars, has his case been helped more than anyone this year? It seems like the realization of just how important, how versatile, and how pivotal he is to making so many things work on this team has never been more apparent. He seems like he's in a pretty good spot to get a decent contract out of Toronto.
Yeah, the problem I think he's going to have is he's going to get a more decent contract somewhere else.
Yeah. Right.
What do you think somebody would pay him, Ray, if it we're just spitballing here for the sake of doing it. If it's open market and somebody says, hey, Zach, do you want to come play here for X amount? What is it?
Well, it's north of 4.
Oh, God, yeah.
Is it 5?
I think so.
Can't be.
You say it can't be, Mike?
Yeah, I say can't be. I think between 4 and 5 is kind of where he goes.
Johnny, if you're looking at him, wouldn't you say, okay, if he's playing with Matthews and Marner, wouldn't you first start out by saying, well, I'm half as good as them, so shouldn't I be paid half of what they make? If the reference point is William Nylander, it's like if he's making 6.9, I got to make 5.5. I might not score 30 like him, but I'm going to get you 25 and bust my ass every shift.
When Edmonton has $22 million or $25 million in cap space this year,
they
and
would love to have him.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my! If you're one of those two big guys, you're like, man, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem Toronto's, again, we're talking March 8th here, but assuming Zach continues to play at a rate kind of the same as this, the problem Toronto's going to have is Zach Hyman's not going to have 2 options. He's going to have about 16. He's going to be a desired player.
Yeah, he's worthy of that. He's worthy of that desire. He's a good player, really good player.
Yeah.
Works hard,
one
brings
other
a
thing,
lot.
if you're Brian, sorry, if you're struggling, say you're a team that's, you're just trying to jump a step, or you're a very good team. But say you're trying to jump a step, and you're trying to, we always hear about that elusive culture, and you're trying to build your culture. Wouldn't you want that work ethic to be a central part of that? I would.
No, he defines those intangibles and, genuinely good guy, all those things that come with the package. I don't know what that's worth on a piece of paper, on a contract, but his stats can back up a lot too. I mean, he's put up good numbers. It's not just, hey, he's a workhorse in the corners. Like, he's scoring goals, putting up some points. He's going to have a compelling case.
Hayes, who scored, Pat Maroon almost scored 30 with Connor McDavid. Chiasson scored 20-something with Connor McDavid. So he's not playing with Connor McDavid. He's playing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. So his 24 goals, while impressive, 6 of which are empty netters, while impressive, I'm leery if I get him in a different situation playing with Dylan Larkin and try to help out Detroit.
Right.
You're going to get everything that Zach brings, which is great. Leadership, effort, energy, defense. You're not going to get 25 goals or the 28 goals he scored in his last 82 games, whatever the number is, because, he's been in a perfect situation. Now, Edmonton's interesting because he could land in a very similar perfect instance, but most teams don't have those kind of players to put him with.
That's valid.
Don't you think, Johnny, that's part of isn't that what pro scouts are supposed to do? Isn't that what management's supposed to do? They're supposed to look at a guy and go, yeah, and we know how many times do guys get paid off a career year, and you're like, he's never doing that again. It. As us knuckleheads watch from the outside, we're like, that guy's never scoring 30 again. Oh, would you look at that, 6 years at $37 million. And you're like, what the hell are they thinking?
Happens all the time. And no one ever learns. No one ever learns.
Vancouver's got Louis Eriksson here collecting dust. They can't wait till his contract is up. That year, that may – I'm sure there's other years, but that year may have been the grossest overpay of money ever. Look
Andrew
at those free agents.
Kyle Okposo, David Backes, Louis Eriksson.
Why can't you be saying Mike Johnson, Jeff O'Neill, Ray Ferrero, Brian Hayes?
We wish.
Because none of us would be on this phone right now.
We'd be watching it from the Bahamas.